Hey folks, welcome to the first episode of season 2 of The Bar Dad. The Bar Dad here, helping you adult at the bar. Very excited to have you with us today. Today we're going to be talking about gin, but not just any kind of gin. Gin that you make at home using pure grain alcohol, which means you can make the gin any flavor you want to your specifications. It's a great episode, ladies and gentlemen, so pull up a chair and we'll chat about it.
It's the Bar Dad.
Hey folks, welcome back. Drink. Cheers. Hey folks, welcome back. We are so happy to be beginning our second season here on the Bar Dad, Adulting with the Bar, and I asked the most intelligent people I could think of to be on today's show, and none of them responded. So we asked back, he's kind of our guest in waiting, Mr. Jesse Lair. Good to see you, my brother.
Nice to
Welcome
see you.
back.
Thank you.
We are, by the way, we have a studio audience. So, Jesse.
I'm always glad to fill in when nobody else wants to come.
So today on the Bar Dad, we're talking about something very cool.
Yes, we are.
And I have my favorite St. Augustine gin right here because it is my absolute favorite gin, and it's infused with amazing botanicals and flavors and citrus and juniper forward, and I just love this stuff. But you said, well, we can make our own.
If they can, we can.
St. Augustine, don't listen to him. Just only listen to me. But I was intrigued that you said that we can make our own gin. And the first thing I thought of was like Al Capone or the Moonshiners show on TV and some sort of illicit still out in the backyard. And I'm thinking, yes, let's do that. No, just kidding. Time out. Do not make your own, distill your own liquor, please.
Especially in Florida, it's definitely illegal.
We said please. Okay, so we got that clear. That's the legal disclaimer that our bevy of lawyers have told us to do. But tell me about what you meant about making our own gin.
It's infusing grain alcohol. So you take all the botanicals and you just infuse them in alcohol. Basically, gin starts as vodka. And then
Like vodka.
Like vodka.
Just this clear liquid.
Yep.
And then what do they do with it?
Basically, it goes through two distillations. And what happens is when they make the alcohol, then it goes through a second time and it goes through all the botanicals and it creates the gin.
So this is like double distilled.
Yep.
Or triple distilled.
Correct.
Or whatever they do, right? And so the first is just the straight vodka.
Yep.
And I saw a truck the other day that says, we don't make flavored vodka, we make vodka flavored vodka. So you're talking about vodka flavored vodka.
Yes, except
You had to really think through that.
well, because it's not. I mean, when,
I saw the flow chart in your mind. Okay.
it's like,
There's vodka, and flavored vodka, your favorite is at least cotton candy, right? A birthday cake. And then you're like vodka flavored vodka. Well, if the vodka's flavored with vodka, that means it tastes like vodka, so then it's just vodka.
That process was really quick, but it looked like it hurt. So I just make sure you're good. Okay.
you made it more painful,
I-
but it's okay. The vodka becomes flavored vodka until you add certain stuff to it, and then it becomes gin.
So how do they, when you say add flavoring or add botanicals, what does that look like? When they put it through the process again and they add like stuff in this big pot?
There's a way they process it where it's on the top of the still. So when it steeps through, that's where the flavor comes from when it comes back down. And that's why it comes out very clear. So when we do it, we're going to just take it and infuse it in grain alcohol, very high content of grain alcohol. And then it will get the flavors from that.
So it's kind of like a cloudy yellow, like you're taking a leak after having a lot of asparagus.
That and 3 beers, yeah.
Okay. All right. So Bar Dad folks, we're talking about something that actually kind of cool, right? Because you now can take control over the flavors.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about how to do that. And it's not just gin, right? We're talking about gin because it's a favorite of you and I. Remember him on the martini episode. So we love gin.
Yep.
But you can infuse rums, like spiced rums.
Yes.
You could do whiskeys. I know you've made whiskeys.
Yes.
You could do brandies, tequilas, all sorts of things, right?
Yes. You can infuse almost any kind of grain alcohol.
Now, is that like, I heard like Everclear grain alcohol. Is that what you look for?
You want something that has a high alcohol content, about 151 or up.
Oh. Now, the stuff that you make, it's not 153 proof. You dilute it down a little bit, right?
Correct.
So
There's a chart. There's a chart that tells you how much distilled water you can add to it. Bring it down to.
Okay. All right. So Bar Dad, folks, stay tuned. Now we've got 2 bottles of stuff up here to talk about, right? Because when you hear people talk about infusion, a lot of times you hear infused moonshine, right? And I've done moonshine cherries before. I've done blackberry moonshine, where I take a clear base moonshine. This one's, I think, about 100 something proof. Right. And then you just let it sit for, I did an apple pie moonshine. I think it lasted 6 months in storage until I was able to bring it out. It was fantastic. And then you mentioned the grain alcohol. So here we have 153 proof grain alcohol. This will put hair on your chest.
Yes, it will.
Yes.
Or take it off.
Or take it off.
More like burn it off.
Ouch. Just be careful where you use it.
Yes.
It's only for external use only. So. This is grain, right? And we're assuming
this is probably a corn.
About a corn base, okay. So at the Bar Dad, right? We're about trying things, so we're gonna try this. We're gonna try straight moonshine, and then we're gonna go for this. Okay.
No wonder everything we make comes out well.
Amen. Cheers. All right. So it doesn't have necessarily the most pleasant smell. It's a little sour almost. Okay. By the way, we did some pre-filming testing of this, so I'm going to speak in kind of past tense, but when I just took this drink, I got that heavy corn, syrupy, kind of nutty flavor thing that I could definitely tell that was
Up front.
Up front,
Yes.
Yeah, right up front.
And then afterwards, it has a little bit of little different taste to it.
There's no burn.
No,
Again, we're
it's very
professionals.
smooth. Now this would be good to make whiskey out of.
Yeah. So
which is something we should probably do next.
We could do that. So why would this be the preferred one to use when we're infusing our own gin?
It's more sharp.
Well, obviously, it's got.
Well, not just because of the alcohol content. When you taste it, you'll see the difference. This is going to be a little bit different than that. It's just going to be more crisp.
All right. Okay, so immediately right off the bat, this one has a more floral bouquet versus that oily kind of scent that had.
Yeah.
It's still very astringent, but it smells cleaner than.
I would take a little sip.
Is it hot, as they say on moonshiners? Is that hot? Okay.
But you'll see when you taste that, you can see why this would make really good gin.
So should I do some booze yoga? I should do some.
You should do some.
Watch the booze watch the
What?
Booze yoga.
Booze yoga episode of the Bar Dad first season. Okay. Hot as hell.
Yep. Sharp.
I mean, just.
Yep.
Right. But no afterburn. The burn that I get
is up front.
Right on the tip of the tongue. And then there really isn't anything. But then again, booze yoga does that. And it's very clean. It's very clean.
Yeah.
So I get it now. Using this, you'd be able to pick up more of the botanicals without the additional flavor brought by the base alcohol.
Of the alcohol, correct.
Okay. All right. All right, Bar Dad folks. So
can't waste it.
Cheers. So Jesse, in our next segment, you're going to kind of walk through the different things we're going to put in our infused gin.
All the different ingredients.
All the different ingredient stuff. So stay tuned. Cheers. Wow, that was pretty hot. I need a Sazerac to wash that last shot down. Oh, boy, after having that stuff, this stuff tastes like a Capri Sun.
Juicy juice. You call me anything you want. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Oh my God, seriously? Say goodnight, Gracie. Good night, Gracie. Hey, so got a lot of crap on the bar here, Jesse, to walk through. But this is all the stuff that we are going to make we're going to put in here and make our infused bottle of gin. Right?
Correct.
Okay. So let's talk about the ingredients that you have, and then let's walk through the process of doing it.
One thing with gin is you can do anything you want to make it your own gin. I made some with fresh rosemary. You can use sage. Some people use different roots. So you can change the flavor up any way you want. The only thing you want to be careful of is when you add one thing to it, it changes the other ingredients.
Completely.
So you kind of have to be careful there.
And we also found where you think you've put a small amount in, then you taste it and you're like,
Yes.
and you use just a little bit of that because it for some reason it intensifies, right?
Well, and a perfect example is star anise. You know, it gives that little bit of licorice taste to it. And we did like one little corner of a star, and I let it sit in there just overnight, took it out, and it was like, wow.
Yeah.
So it's good, but if you don't like that licorice flavor, then you don't want to use that.
So we recommend starting with a glass jar that does have an airtight sealable
Airtight seal.
piece on that. And anytime you infuse, we do recommend using something on this thing. You pick it up at your local grocery store or someplace like that.
Yes.
Okay. All right, what's next, brother?
So let's start with putting in the alcohol. If you can measure out
How many?
18 ounces.
That's 28 ounces.
I said 18.
Oh, you said 18.
Well, we're going to change it up today. Load it up.
So we doing this?
Let's do it.
All right.
It won't hurt anything.
So we're doing a whole 750 milliliter bottle of grain alcohol.
Because here's what happens. Whatever we put in here, we're going to do straight grain alcohol. And then we're going to put in the ingredients that we want. Later, we're going to put in distilled water and knock it down to the proof that we want.
So that's important. You talk about distilled water to get it down to the alcohol content that you need. And there's websites that we can recommend that show you the charts, right?
Right.
We recommend distilled water, right?
Absolutely.
All the crap has been taken out.
Yes.
We have a little joke. You did a batch the other day.
I did.
And you mistakenly used a batch of water from Walmart.
Well, we'll call it was a great value.
It was a great value.
Yes.
And it actually had the consistency and look of dishwater.
That's being nice.
It
Yes.
did.
Yes.
So we called it the Walmartini.
Walmartini.
And but you ended up drinking it all.
I had to. You know, you didn't want to
You've
waste
grown another
alcohol.
foot since I last saw you.
I
So
have.
we do recommend you using
The distilled water
distilled
takes
water.
all the impurities out of the water. There's nothing in it at all. So
But
that's what makes it.
But here's a recommendation. Some people put the distilled water in the liquor now and then put the botanicals in there. Our recommendation is just use the straight alcohol first.
Correct.
Put the ingredients in, store that for a couple of days, and then add the distilled water. Because what happens is adding the water reduces the amount of infusion that you get from it. If you keep the straight booze, then you get a stronger infusion of the flavors.
And that's another reason why we use the grain alcohol from either ABC or Everclear, because the higher the alcohol content, the better the infusion is.
Yes.
So that's why you want to do it that way and then reduce it. So it works out a lot better.
Okay.
We're going to start with juniper berries.
Juniper berries. Okay.
You'll
So
open
one of
that
the
up.
reasons I like juniper, or when I like St. Augustine gin, it's very juniper forward. So these look like little, they're not like berries like blackberries. They look like almost like pepper corns, right? And they don't really have much of a.
No, they're dried.
They're dried, yeah.
So this ingredient is going to take 2 tablespoons.
Looks like we released a gerbil in your.
You can add a little more. I mean, the nice thing with making your own gin is you can make it any way you want.
So we got the juniper berries in.
Juniper berries are in.
Now, where does somebody pick up juniper berries?
Best place to get these are online. Honestly.
Online? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different places you can order them online. I have a hard time finding them locally.
So you can find them, but a lot of times they're in botanical stores that
Yes.
sell other botanicals and other ingredients for next. Yes, where's your juniper berries? It's next to the Eye of Newt and the voodoo dolls up there in the left-hand corner. So
Right underneath.
right underneath.
Yes.
So
Not that I know from example, but you know. But
have you ever put Eye of Newt in your gin infusion?
no, not yet.
No. Okay.
No. Now we're going to put in 2 Cardamom pods.
Cardamom pods. So let's
Just
show
2.
everybody what a cardamom pod is.
Just 2.
And you get these from like Asian markets, right?
Yes.
There's a lot going on with this little thing.
There is. And
Okay.
2 is like a lot.
Wow. Okay. Cardamom.
So, cardamom pods.
All right.
Then we're going to go ahead and we'll add 2 peppercorns.
Now, we've experimented with this, right?
Yes, we have.
And the difference between 2 peppercorns and 3 peppercorns is, you know, when we talked about even the smallest bit of flavor
Jumps quick.
Yes. So adding the 3rd peppercorn makes it very spicy.
Especially on the back end.
But yeah, absolutely. So we're going to go with 2 peppercorns on this.
And then it calls for a small cinnamon stick. But as we found, cinnamon can be very overpowering also. So we're going to break off a little piece at the end and drop that in.
Yeah, so the last batch that he made, it very cinnamon forward, which is a great drinking gin, but not a great mixing gin. So I like the little bit of cinnamon that it adds to the complexity, but you don't want it to be overpowering.
Right, and you can always add more. It's better to start off with less ingredients and then build up to it.
Agreed.
And you do want to use the starting.
Now remember though, we're also working with 10 more ounces of booze than you did with yours.
But it won't matter.
Okay.
It won't.
Now why doesn't that matter though? Because you would think, right, if I had 10 more ounces of the booze, that you would need to add more flavoring to it.
The amount that's going in there is not really going to make a big difference. If you were starting with a whole full jar, maybe, but that much, maybe.
On the next episode of the Bar Dad. On the next episode of the Bar Dad.
The star anise is very, very strong, so we're just going to break off one corner.
Just a little bitty
One.
thing. And I'm a big fan of liquor, so I just polished off 2 bottles of Ouzo this week.
How about that?
Yeah, okay. That's what
I'm telling you,
Let's do that.
It'll be a lot.
All right.
So we just broke off one little corner piece of the star. Now we're going to put in the coriander seed.
Coriander seed.
Coriander
Let
seed.
me put one of those in my palm here. Let's. Okay. Okay.
Smell through here.
Okay. It's like I'm eating a Wixon sticks, like at the mall,
Oh, there you go.
but it's very botanical.
So we're going to put 1 teaspoon of that.
1 teaspoon of that.
And that goes in. And then after that, we're going to add our citrus.
Ah, okay.
So now here with citrus, you can do anything again. Typically, I definitely do a lemon, orange, or you can do grapefruit. This time we're going to do grapefruit.
All right, so what we did is we were in the getting the knife and cutting board break. We shaved some peel off of the grapefruit and the lemon. And you don't need a lot, so we did maybe 2.
You're going to put in 1 slice of each. We peeled a couple because we're going to shave the pith off.
Yes.
Of it.
So Jesse, why don't you go show everybody what you're talking about, because this is really important.
If you look at the back, the white part is the pith. So you want it to turn out more like this, where there's no pith on it at all, no white.
So how do you do that? Cutting board?
You take a cutting board, almost like filleting a fish.
And if you've never filleted a fish before, it's like cutting the pith off of a rind.
Exactly, same thing.
And the reason you want to take the white crap off is because it makes it really bitter, and that's a tough thing. So get a really, really sharp knife, because you really want to get all the remnants of that white part off the peel. Please hold. All right, so we got the pith
Removed.
pith of the food.
The pith is removed.
Pith removed. With this butter.
Yep.
Okay. What's next?
So that's it.
That's it?
That's it. That is gin in the making.
Ah, there we go.
As we do that, you know what is amazing? Some of the research I've done on the different alcohol is gin has been around since like ever, like 70 AD or something stupid. And it's all been started with monks.
All right, so we've got this wonderful stuff in here, right?
Yes.
Now, does it need to be stored in like a cool, dark place, or is there any rules about where to store this?
Not really. I mean, it doesn't. You don't want it in the sunlight, but you just in a cabinet.
Okay.
It'll be fine. But the other thing you want to do is I let mine soak for about 2-3 days. Okay. after 24 hours, you basically would have gin. I like stronger flavor. But after 24 hours, I take the citrus out.
Okay, because then it could get...
Yeah, it'll
Okay.
start to get really bitter.
I also read in my research that they do ask you that you shake it.
Every day.
Every day. You
Every
go
day.
in and go.
Shake, shake, shake.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, this will be the Bar Dad's first infused gin. We will definitely post on Instagram the unbottling. So, you'll have to come over for the unbottling of the gin. So, we're going to try some homemade hooch. Not distilled. Homemade infused hooch. Some gin, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So, we're very excited because we have a batch of gin
That we've already made.
we've already made, and you'll notice that it is a little brown, but we know it's not the Waltini because it doesn't look like it has a UTI. So it's a little clearer. You can actually, well, relatively see through it. But so tell us. So what did you do differently with the infusion on this one? Anything?
No, the only thing different is the water I used. I used the distilled water instead of
For the
different water. But the infusion on this was basically the same thing we did there,
Okay.
except instead of using grapefruit, I used orange.
oranges. Okay.
So, and then what you would do when it's all done and you have all your ingredients in there, now you're just going to take it and get yourself a bottle, a filter.
Notice St. Augustine-Distillery.
So we're going to take a funnel, just a basic coffee filter, and then you're going to strain everything right into that.
This is so exciting.
I'm so excited.
It's like watching paint drip or alcohol drip.
Smells better though.
Actually, it cleaned it up, the color a little bit too.
Yeah. Now you could actually, if you want to invest into like a Brita pitcher,
Oh.
you could filter this through a Brita pitcher, and it'll come out a lot more clear, clean.
No matter how amazing it was watching all of that alcohol drip through that thing, we decided to cut that and move to where we actually have it in the bottle. So.
And drink it.
And drink it. Can't wait to that part. Okay. So, talk to us through it. What we got going on?
That's it.
That's it?
That's it.
Bowl.
And now it's done.
Serve
now,
it up.
Now you have gin, and then you can do whatever you want with it.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're digging into his homemade infused gin. In a second, we'll give the audience a special nip.
And then from here, I think we should try a couple different cocktails with it.
I think we should.
Salud.
All right. Okay, so the last filter it's not as cinnamon forward as the last time I smelled that.
It's nice and clear.
It is. Not as strong on the cinnamon as it was before.
Yeah.
So that extra filter
It does.
cleaned out some of that stuff.
I like I said, basically I try and filter mine about 3 times.
This will be fantastic in a G&T.
Oh yeah. You'd be surprised. I made a martini with it last night.
With olives?
Yes. And it was very good.
We'll be right back. All right, folks, we really appreciate you joining us on this journey of making your homemade gin. Jesse, as always, you're wearing your platform heels.
Thank you so much. No, look, when you drink this stuff, it makes you feel taller.
There we go. Hey, as always, brother, I really appreciate you bringing your time, your talents,
Thank you
your
so
knowledge, and your booze.
It's always fun.
It's a pleasure. Bar Dad, folks, hey, find us on YouTube. Like the video, subscribe, please. Find us on Instagram and follow us there. If you have any questions, comments, smart remarks, or ideas for future episodes in Season 2, please find us at thebardad@gmail.com. Until then, my friends, please always keep your friends close and your homemade hooch closer.
That's
Cheers.
salud.
Keep your friends close and your scotch closer. It's the Bar Dad.